Hi everybody, this is Scott Sharp with Fretboard Toolbox, and today we're going to look at improvising in the key of G with some fingerstyle arrangements. So I'll show you kind of how to do those basic fingerstyle patterns, but I've got a video that shows a lot more about that, and then I'll show you the safe notes to start adding on for different chords for the key of G, and hopefully by the end you'll be making some really cool sounds and be able to go to town with it. So let's get started and I'll show you how it works. Okay, before we get started, you want to make sure that you can play through some of those fingerstyle patterns. So if you go to the Fretboard Toolbox website and you click on strumming patterns, so you go to free tools and then down here to strumming patterns, then you can go check out the intro, strumming patterns, folk, pop, country, bluegrass, and today I'm going to be messing around with the finger picking patterns. And when you click on this, this finger picking patterns comes up, and so today I've messed around with kind of quite a few different options, but I'm going to try to do a lot of just thumb up, thumb up, thumb up, thumb up. Okay, so that looks like this. But at some point I may do a little thumb pinch, thumb up, or thumb pinch, thumb up, like thumb pinch, thumb up. So I've got a whole video on these 10 fingerstyle patterns, so I'll link to that. But just make sure that you can at least mess around with one of them. So you can do that thumb up, thumb up, thumb up. And then we'll be using a Fretboard Toolbox, Essential Baritone Ukulele book, and also a Fretboard Toolbox Complete Baritone Ukulele book. The complete books have all the major keys and all the relative minor keys and all the blues keys, so it shows you what chords sound good and where those notes are found. But the complete or the essential edition does the same thing, but it does it with the keys of just G, A, C, D, and E major, so just your most common keys. But what the essential book has is colored circles that show you the notes that make up a chord. And the complete books are all black and white. So the only thing you want to focus on here is what chords are going to sound cool in this key. And then this will tell you what notes, the notes in colored circles here, will tell you what notes make up the chord. And then everything in white boxes are major scale notes. So what happens is if you can play a G major chord and then throw on an A or a C or an E or an F sharp, you're going to make some cool sounds. And if you play a C major chord, which is made of C, E, and G notes, then you can throw on an A or a B or a D or an F sharp. And so today we're going to be breaking rules by just playing the chord, playing different chords, and then just throwing on some notes from the scale. So there's all kinds of notes from outside of the scale you can do too, but let's just see what happens when we just mess with notes from the scale. So we'll start here with the G major chord. So you probably know this G major, and I'm doing that thumb up, thumb up, thumb up, thumb up, thumb up, thumb up, thumb up. Okay, so now watch what happens when I go up to this A. Now I'm on the B. Listen to the C. Now I'm up on the D. Back to the G. Back to the G. Now listen to what happens if I go between the G and the A. Not so good. Back to the G. So I can also, on a G major, I could try to throw on the C note. And all of those chords will have different names, like this one is a, let's see, no, it's just sus4, G sus4, but you don't even have to worry about the names. If you can just see those notes that are in there, you can just try to add stuff that's in the key. That's just over a G chord. And then today the goal is not for you to play every single note I played, because that'd be a really bad teacher if that was if I had played it that fast. The goal is just for you to like pause it and try this out yourself. Like just see what happens when you start adding some notes from here. And if you're a more advanced player, see if you can like add some notes based off this chord, this G major up on the 7th and 8th and 7th frets. So that's just the G. Now let's look at a C chord, but we're going to add notes from the key of G major. So anything in white boxes here, anything in white is from the G major scale. So look at your C major and watch what happens if I add this F sharp. Now I'll add the G. Now I'm adding the D. And some of you will say like, oh, well, when you took that pointer finger off of the C, it became an E minor. And yeah, absolutely right. But it still will sound cool when someone's playing a C chord if you're just improvising melodies off of here, and take off the C for a second. Just see what happens. So the whole goal is to experiment and just figure out what is sounding cool and what things your hands can do, and what notes are safe to try to mess around with. So here's a D major chord, but there's a G right here I could add. It makes a nice suspended chord, nice suspended 4. And then if I take off the F sharp, then it becomes a D suspended 2. Now I'm adding this B. I'm using my thumb to add an E for a second. So I'm just messing around too, just experimenting with what happens when I add these different notes. And if you can start seeing these chords laid out here in your mind, then you can just you can see all those without switching the keys here, without switching the pages. You can just see, oh, here's, I can, on a D major, I could add this G here, or can I grab this A way up here, like. So if your hands can do that, awesome. But maybe you can find some cool spots that I've missed. Let's look at a couple more here. Let's look at some of the minor chords. A minor is made of A, C, and E notes. So if I was improvising over that, I could take off the C for a second. I could add a D. I can add this F sharp for a sec. Adding a G. It just, you kind of get some nice little moody sounds with this, and it's just fun for me sometimes when I'm just kind of in my feels, as the kids say, when I'm just thinking. It's just nice for me to just kind of zone out and make up some stuff to do, make up some little fingerstyle stuff. So here's an E minor. I added an A. So that's the main idea. Maybe I'll just do kind of one to string everything together, and just kind of show you, like, if I was just messing around, what I might do. So let's try like a G, a E minor, C, D chord progression. And so I'm not going to jump to all the different chords here, but I'm going to play G to E minor to C major to D major and then back to the G. So, and I'll just goof around and see what I feel like doing. Up to the C. Just like that. That's the main idea, is find some places that are safe where you can just try to throw on some different notes and teach your fingers to move up and try some different notes to add on for melodies. And then you'll start, as you mess around with it, you'll be like, oh, that kind of sounds like this song or that song. And then if you get kind of a little more advanced and you start realizing that anytime I add a C over a G major chord, that sounds cool, then learn what that means. Like if you're playing a G, C, and D, that's called a G sus4, you know, and then it's like, once you know that, then, okay, I can play a C sus4 if I play an F note right here, whatever's above the E, or if I play a G note here on a D chord, I can play a D sus4. So then that's when the fun stuff happens for me. So anyways, I hope that you found something useful, and if you want to know more about fretboard toolboxes, if you go to the Fretboard Toolbox website and go to pick your instrument, I've got books that are set up just alike for all these different instruments, and you can, any of the books, you can go click and go to that page. You can learn about the essential versus complete differences. You can see the print versus ebook options. And if you click look inside, you can download all of the key of G major pages for free, plus all the instructions. So there's also tons of cool stuff to poke around with here, and hope you spend some time there and find some things that make a difference in your playing. Thanks for stopping by.